And we're back, Liz, with another fun episode.
And we're doing it on a Friday.
It is a Friday. Very excited about that. We may get it out on a Friday, which is great because that's even more consistent.
Yeah, it will be late Friday.
Yeah.
Currently 7:50, but it's Friday.
But it's still getting out there. Yeah, it's exciting. Hey, we got a great episode for the boys and girls listening at home, in the car, or at the gym. I don't know why I always put the gym in there, because I just assume that, you're listening while you're just trying to get a PR on your...
I mean, in your defense, someone literally just told us they listened to us while they were working out at the gym, and it felt like
That's
we were
why.
all hanging out. So I think that counts as me going to the gym.
Isn't it cool that people knew about the podcast? That they could listen to it at the gym, Liz? Thank you for opening up the world to our story and everything we're talking about. Hey, it's going to be really exciting, everybody. We're talking today about Senora Clyde's favorite thing of all time.
It's not... Well, okay, Jesus is my favorite thing of all time. Don't make me look weird.
Well, he is a person, so it's not your favorite
Okay.
thing.
You know what I mean. I'm just saying, don't try and be like, I put this above anything else, because I don't.
Exactly. We're talking about finances and money and all of that kind of things that make
Budgets?
me... Yes, budgets will probably make an appearance. All the things that really don't bring me joy in life. But we're talking everyday money saving tips and best practices today. So welcome to the episode. It's going to be diving into some money saving tips and best practices that hopefully you can put into your daily life. They're going to help you out. We'll share a couple of stories and tips and tricks from our own toolbox. Our own toolbox that we can share with you that hopefully will add some value to your life. So we're going to break this down into a few segments. Again, Liz, we're going to try to get through this all in a little bit of time, but I'm going to give us a budget time-wise of 35 minutes today.
Okay, starting now?
Starting now.
Okay.
So we've got, first, we're going to talk about really why it's important to manage our money, right? Then we're going to break down some statistics on savings, because savings are neglected by a lot of people. Then we're going to break down some everyday tips that have worked for us and that have worked for other people. And then finally, we're going to close out with some essential practices, which will save you time, save you money, save you stress and anxiety, sleepless nights, panic, doom, misery.
I mean, it's not that scary. I don't understand why people get so stressed out about finances.
It's true. All right, so let's jump into money management and why money management is important. Let's talk about why it's important to be responsible with our financial resources. I want you to think back, Liz, to our early 20s. All right, so I'm 30, you're 31 now. Is that still okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
It's good because I said it. Think back to early 20s. What do you feel like has been the most significant change in our collective approach to saving money, you and me?
Okay, so the biggest change is we make a lot more money than we did 10 years ago. So much more money. We both had, you kept on getting promoted at the church, and I think we talked about, because you started off as a very part-time worship leader.
Yeah.
And now you are on the central team as a creative pastor, and you help resource all 10 campuses.
Right.
So your pay, I'm not going to say numbers because you hate that.
Thank you so much.
But pretty much we talked about how your pay over tripled throughout your 10 years at Faith, maybe even quadrupled.
Yeah.
Now, you didn't get paid very much at the beginning, but still a quadruple pay is impressive.
It's a pretty good jump.
Yes. Over 10 years.
Yeah.
And with me, I went from like part-time to full-time to making nothing to traveling for the job. And I took the lower pay for the free masters.
Yep.
And now I'm at, even though it's teaching, because I have my master's, I'm at the highest paying job that I've had.
Which is
to
really
date
cool
as well. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So break down a couple of those things. So two things really stuck out to me from what you said. You said that one, you're seeming to say that the longer you live, that was a really weird way to say that, but the more you work, the more promotions will probably come, the more cost of living raises that you'll probably get.
Yeah, ideally.
Yep. And so that is in and of itself definitely going to help you. The other one that you mentioned, and we'll talk about side hustles in a little bit because I know that you're passionate about side hustles.
Love them.
But the other thing you mentioned was kind of a fringe benefit from something that opened up from an opportunity that you had. So a lot of times those fringe benefits, or I don't even know what that phrase means, but pretty much those unspoken things. What were you going to say?
It's going to be, it's jobs with benefits. It's almost like friends with benefits.
It's
but
a job with benefit on the fringes of response, whatever. So most of the time, I think that there are benefits that aren't in the handbook, the employee handbook of your job, right? And so one of those was, you mentioned that you took a pay cut when you were at CSU, essentially, to get a free master's, basically. So really quick, give us like a 60-second breakdown of how that worked in your specific case.
Yeah, so even though I already had my bachelor's degree, the pay of an entry-level employee for having a degree was laughable.
Yeah.
But there was opportunity for overtime. There was opportunity to travel, so I got per diem, so that was fun. And once again, free masters, and you got your masters for half off.
Yeah.
If we were Baptist, you would have gotten a free masters. But we're not Baptist.
No, it's true.
Still salty. We didn't find that out until after we enrolled you in classes.
Yeah, it was a really cool tuition waiver that I was able to sign because of your position, because I was a spouse, which is really cool.
I mean, 2 masters for half off, can't beat that.
Come on. Yeah, like we'll definitely take a little bit of that pay cut for that. So that's probably the most significant change you've seen from our early 20s, you think?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really see anyone. So there is some times where you might want to take a pay cut for benefits like, so I know some people who may work in the industry, like the engineer teachers or the health science teachers who left the industry making like 90K, 100K a year, and now they're making like maybe 45, 50K teaching,
right?
But they wanted the summers off. They wanted the time off to be with their family and kids. So ideally you will never have to go backwards in your salary, but you really have to see what fits for you and your family, because some people pay almost a salary to daycare.
Yeah, exactly. Which brings up kind of an interesting point. So those benefits add a value to your life that's not financial. So let's talk about that balance between saving money. We're talking about the importance of money management here, which is a super uncomfortable conversation for a lot of people. I love it.
I'll even talk numbers of my pay salary. I won't do it for Taylor out of respect for him, but I'm Minority Report. I love talking openly about numbers because granted, I'm a teacher at the moment, so you can see my salary online. But if like there's a corporation, when I worked in like more of another sector, I would tell people what I made because bosses are shady. And I'm like, I'll expose you. Like one department at CSU, they were straight up told, well, you're the highest people in admission. And they told me their salary. I was like, well, they lied to you because this is my salary. And so that's just like, you expose shadiness.
You're such a freedom fighter rebel when it comes to this stuff. Like, I feel like you're silently holding up your picket sign anytime this comes up and you're like, fair wages and open to whatever.
Well, it's not even like, yes, it should be fair, but if so-and-so makes higher than you, you should be able to question why. Does so-and-so have a higher degree? Do they come to work on time? Are you always late? So have they've gotten performance raises that you did not get? And so this is your chance to grow and figure out why people are getting paid more than you. Or is it favoritism? Is it nepotism?
Which
like
could
I want to
be.
expose it.
Yeah, which definitely could be. So where I don't love being so open with that kind of stuff. It's probably because, like in most other areas of my life, I'm pretty conservative. So I'm not ever trying to overshare or be haughty with showing off all that kind of stuff. But kind of bringing it back to the conversation, I want to talk about, in my opinion, there's a balance you have to have, right, between saving money and investing in yourself. Yes. So money management is pretty important. And I'll say this, I also think, and I've mentioned it on previous episodes, but I really place a high priority, a valority, if you will, a value priority,
yes,
in growing yourself, which is why I'm paying for a Google certification right now in project management. My bosses didn't ask me to do that. My job does not necessitate that I do that, But I saw an ad for it and I was like, oh man, this is amazing. This is right up my alley. Like, I love the idea of this. I'm doing this in my job and I want to get better because I can use that skill set to make everyone else on the team better. So I'm going to do it.
Right.
So I think that in as much as you want to invest in yourself and you want to have maybe the nice car and maybe the nice place to live or maybe the nice food to eat and maybe the nice toys, the PS5s and all the little gadgets and all the stuff and the new phones, I think that there's got to be a balance between investing in yourself and saving.
Yeah. So money management is not don't spend money, throw it all in savings, and don't enjoy your life.
Ooh, good stuff.
Money management is literally telling your money where to go.
That's really good.
And and before you can tell your money where to go, you first need to know where your money went. And that's the biggest downfall in money management because people, they do not want to take the time every single week to see what they spent the week before. Because we've sat down in many a budget meetings and you've walked away in anger when I've added up all your going out to eat and you're like, what the frick? Because you're like, why can't I spend this money? I can tell you exactly why you can't spend this money. It's because you spent X, Y, and Z at frickin' Panda Express.
Don't call out Panda Express like that.
But that's one of your favorite ones is Panda, Zaxby's. But it's the same with me and Chick-fil-A. I love my Chick-fil-A.
You want it tonight. You asked for it tonight.
I asked for it yesterday too. And
we almost went yesterday, but they didn't have
I found
bacon.
out the grill was down. I asked a Chick-fil-A employee because I was very upset.
Y'all, every time we went to place the mobile order, and I mean, Liz went to place it 5 different times, it would say, we're sorry, but we cannot complete your order because of something is out.
Well, something was out of stock, and I was trying to get bacon on my grilled, and so I was like, well, maybe it's no bacon. So I didn't do bacon. Or sometimes it was a lettuce short. They didn't say what was out of stock.
Yeah.
So then I tried to do it with no lettuce, and it was actually the chicken because I didn't think Chick-fil-A would actually not have the chicken.
No, yeah, that's weird. Granted, they had the fried, but whatever. Like we wanted the grilled. So you're leaning into something. You're about to talk more budgeting. You're talking about knowing where your money went, so you can tell it where to go in the future. So take us into segment 2, Liz, on some everyday money saving tips, and let's dive into let's go into budgeting. What were you going to tell us about budgeting?
Yeah. So, and I literally just gave someone this similar statistic beforehand, but it makes me so sad. That what is it like in 2019 the average American household spends about, and that's not the what was it? It was the one with the check, the one that people cannot like write a $400 check because they don't have $400 to spend on an emergency.
Yep, that's that first one over in segment 3.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm skipping way ahead.
No, you're good. I switched this around midway because you were starting to talk about the budget. So you're talking about as of 2021 over in segment 3, right?
Yes, it was segment 2. That's why I got confused.
Yeah.
What was that? But so like there's going to be unexpected expenses.
Yep.
There's going to be that nail in the tire. There's going to be the AC pan overfilled and you don't realize it and you have to pay $200 for someone to be like,
no.
Oh, you just have to dump it. It's happened before. There's going to be a bad battery. There's going to be where you have to do an unexpected trip where your gas doubles. There's going to be inflation where grocery literally triples in price. Like it's going to happen.
Right.
So
you got to have a well-planned budget.
You have to have a well-planned budget.
Yeah.
And ideally you do an every dollar, tell every dollar where to go. And that's what we use. So I'm a big Dave Ramsey fan.
Oh yeah.
And so he has this app, Every Dollar. It's free. You can buy the like the monthly version of it where they actually import all of your transactions and you literally just drag and drop where it goes in which categories, or you can put it in by hand, which we did for years before I was like, screw this, I'm paying $10 a month and having them import it. But it helps us, and if we go over, it's okay because we have a cushion, but it helps us slow down. Like, oh, it's the 5th right now and we're already halfway through our eating out budget. Probably shouldn't get Chick-fil-A today.
Fair enough.
Or like gas is more expensive, so maybe we should try and not just drive around aimlessly or go across town to the nice movie theater. We should go to the closer movie theater. So it's just, it makes you more mindful. And so what people don't realize, a budget and planning your money, it actually gives you more freedom versus like limitations because now if you want the PS5, you see how much money you have left over in your budget. If it's like $50, $100, you now can literally put a category of PS5,
Right.
and you save up that money to get the PS5.
Yep. And you know when you're going to be able to get it, which is important to me.
Yes,
I don't
it
want to
gives
know that
you
I can
the
get it in the
payoff date.
future. Exactly. I want to know that date.
But I understand the reality of people their bills may be higher than their income. And so they're in the negative every single month. And that's where the side hustles need to come in.
Well, either that or if I think in that case, coming from a very privileged perspective of where I am right now, I think that you need to really evaluate your expenses at that point. And you need to look at what is non-negotiable. Like if you're talking like medical things, or if you're talking things that are like you cannot negotiate your way out of. I'm talking about your Netflix subscriptions. I'm talking about, and everybody hates to come for Dave whenever he says the $5 coffee situations.
Yeah, but I'm saying if you want to keep those, you increase your income. So you either get a new job or you get a side hustle.
This is a cool perspective,
or you exit.
Yeah, no.
So that's what a budget does. And then a big thing of Dave is, I will be the first to admit, Dave Ramsey, if you are trying to build wealth, Dave Ramsey's method may not be for you. If you have no debt, you've already been saving for retirements. Dave is to help the average family learn how to manage their money and to get out of debt.
Fast.
And that is his method. The gazelle intensity, the snowball, I guess effect. I don't think that's a method.
Yeah.
That's what he does, where you pay off your debt as quickly as possible and you build that emergency fund as quickly as possible, because Murphy will happen. And we mentioned it in another podcast, we had to replace an AC unit. We had car repairs. We saved for Japan, and we got to go on an all-expense trip to Japan that was budgeted, and so we didn't have to stress or I didn't have to be like, well, we have to choose between this or this. We got to do both because I planned for it.
Yeah. So having a well-planned budget is probably the first money-saving tip that we would give. The second one, and it's not popular, I'll be honest, we don't do this well. We're starting to, but it's the whole, man, what if you cooked a little bit more at home rather than dining out?
I have a culinary degree and I hate cooking at home.
I hate cleaning. It's just the worst. So Bureau of Labor Statistics in 2019 did a little survey thing, and they said that the average American household spends around 10% of their income on food, which is kind of crazy. 10% of what your boss gives you, you're spending on food, and nearly half that is on eating out. So I'm not going to argue that you could save a ton of money by going to the grocery store and getting all these veggies and fruits and proteins and then making them at home. But I will say that for us, at least, when we do meal prep, we are able to plan those things, and we don't eat out as much at lunch, which now when I eat out in Somerville at lunch, it's like $12, $13 for lunch.
Sometimes
for me.
$20.
Yeah. Well, rarely for that, because I try to do a little bit better, but
I mean,
cooking
that's
at home
accurate.
definitely helps.
Looking at our every dollar budget, because they do the categories, and you can kind of see how the percent breakup for your spending to income ratio.
Are you fact checking me?
So no, I'm just saying I'm saying we align with that statistic. So we have a personal spending budget, which is your spending, my spending, which usually goes for us out to eat. And then we have like a couple of like lifestyle expenses, like, Netflix, Spotify, date nights and whatnot.
Essentials.
And it's 9% of our income.
That's wild.
So like that, I'm saying that statistic is very, very accurate, because of course, what do we do on date nights? We go out to eat.
True. Literally.
Most of our personal spending is food.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's so true. So yeah, cooking at home versus dining out, I think is one major other money saving tip that you can do.
And like cooking enough where you have leftovers, but also the key is eating those leftovers. I have thrown away so many leftovers, and I get so angry, because then I wasted effort, and I wasted money, and I wasted time.
And food.
Oh, I didn't even care about that.
Like that's a thing. That's real.
I think going out to eat, I think it's so funny that the older generation is like, if you don't eat that avocado toast, why couldn't I say avocado?
Avocado toast.
Avocado toast. Which I've never buy, because it's $13 for some smushed avocado on toast. Absolutely not.
Wait, so the older generation is saying what about avocado
you never
toast?
like that's like the joke. So I'm a part of like many like finance groups.
Oh
and
no, that's
on
why
Facebook.
I don't know the joke, because I'm definitely not in that
scene. And so people are always like, It's the joke because people like just cut out your Starbucks and avocado toast.
Oh.
I'm not saying avocado right, am I?
Avocado?
Avocado. I knew.
Advocado?
I don't. I'm very tired. It was the teacher work week this week, y'all. My classroom is still a hot mess,
She
but
said
it's
you get
fine.
what you get.
Yeah, you get what you get, and you don't throw a fit.
So cooking at home and skip the avocado toast. The other thing I'd say for everyday money saving tips, and this is the hardest part for me because it directly goes against my favorite things, which are Target runs, is shopping with intention. So
Yes.
writing what you need down and sticking to that stinking list.
Grocery pickup and Target pickup has been life changing because you don't go in the store, so you don't do the
see the stuff, right.
the impulse buy. You're not getting the extra snacks that you think you need. You're not going to the dollar. Remember when the dollar section at Target used to actually be the dollar section?
Yep.
Now it's the $3 to $5 to sometimes $10 section.
So true.
And also, if you go to Walmart, you don't get frustrated with all the craziness of Walmart. So it also saves your mental health a little bit too,
True.
doing grocery pickup. But being more mindful with what you spend. Also, you can still have fun. You can, for date nights, you can go walk the beach.
Yeah.
You can go have a little picnic in the park. You can, what else have we done that's like pretty inexpensive? There's like times at bowling that they have bowling deals if you want to do activities.
We talk about that, but I hate bowling.
I don't like bowling
It's
either.
okay, but it's not my first pick. But there's so many free things you can do. For us, we have Charleston, literally 30 minutes away.
We're going kayaking tomorrow morning.
Yep.
Granted, we had to buy the kayaks, but now it's free.
Yeah, it's true.
And we saved for those kayaks.
Yeah, so I started, we went to, this is so stupid, but I did a 5K the other Saturday, and in my little swag bag that they gave you, some random realtor or whatever put a little notepad and a little cheap pen in the thing. And so I moved that to the downstairs area by the fridge. So I started writing down the things that we ran out of. And it's literally so simple. I didn't buy the notebook. I had it laying around, and just doing that, we were able to go in, do the Target run. You did the pickup thing, which is really helpful.
Right. Also, budgeting for unexpected, but like knowing expenses. Like usually, if you have a lot of friends, there's going to be a baby shower. There's going to be a birthday. There's going to be So we there's going to be something. So we actually have a small giving fund.
Tell them about it, Liz. So good.
Yeah, for those gifts, pretty much, because we just know a lot of people. Not trying to be braggadocious, we're so popular.
When you're a pastor, people,
Dude, and one time, like I showed up, and I used to show up. This was before we had money to like spend, and I would show up without like gifts and whatnot. And we had to leave early. Like, oh, which one's your gift?
That did happen once. And
it
it was horrible.
Was so embarrassing. And so
they
I was
were like, we want to open it now before you leave, and we're like, don't worry about it.
Thank goodness a hurricane just happened. I was like, oh, the hurricane made packages delay. I did not lie. Hurricane 100% made packages delay. And so I'm like, I'll get it to you.
And in the car, did you order it?
I sure did. As soon as we sat down, I was like, order, done.
It's on the way.
Yay. 2 days, because it was after the hurricane. But she didn't know.
No, that's good.
But yeah, just saving for, and if you don't have even a lot of people, you don't have margin, which is fine. You can literally bake cookies. I used to hand make stuff and like use the 50% off coupons at Joann's and
Craft
Michael's,
stores,
and I would make little crafts for someone's baby shower. Like I would literally buy the little L or whatever thing that the baby name start with, and I would ask the theme of the nursery, and I would paint it for the theme.
Yeah.
So there's different ways. You just have to think outside the box. And once again, side hustles.
Definitely, yeah. Side hustles were crucial. Don't neglect that. I love that you brought up the giving funds, because even if you don't have a line item, I think you should have a line item in your budget for a giving fund, because from the pastoral perspective, from the believer in Jesus perspective, I won't even say from the pastoral
and
perspective.
this is separate than our tithing.
Correct.
So we have
your
tithing.
tithe is, don't touch do the tithe.
Yeah.
And
So we
period.
have, but even then sorry to interrupt you, but as we have budgeted money, naturally, as we have had pay increases, like consistent pay increases, where it comes from jobs or whether we have someone rent a room or whatnot, we are able to now increase the budget. So we do save a little bit more, but then we have slowly added missionaries in the line item budget.
Right.
We have a church plant that we give to monthly in a line item budget. We do kingdom builder pledges. So it allows you to be more generous because you know where your money's going. And part of the reason that I feel like we have just been so blessed the past 10 years is like you literally cannot outgive God.
Yeah, that's
Like
true.
when I increase like our spending, something else comes our way.
Right.
And it hasn't always necessarily happened in financial blessings like that, but God's always going to like take care of you and provide for you.
Definitely. I'm a massive believer in sowing and reaping and the principle of sowing and reaping in every area of life. And so in as much as we have that first fruits, that tithe that we give to the Lord non-negotiably every single month, for us as well, we've got that. Now, we haven't done great lately sticking to that giving fund, but I do think that part of that sowing and reaping thing and part of being a believer in Jesus means that there should be an operation at some level of generosity in your life, whether that's toward other people or to your family or whatever. So,
and it could be time, it could be gifts, it
Right.
could be, it doesn't have to be monetary value.
Yeah.
It could literally be sitting with someone because they're lonely or because they're having a hard time and just being available.
yeah.
Like, so your generosity doesn't have to be
No, it doesn't have to
monetary.
be financial, but even if it's $5 in your generosity fund a month, that's $5 that you're able to send to somebody and go, hey, I was just thinking about you. Here's a
Starbucks on me.
Starbucks gift card. Yeah. And it will get them 85% of their Starbucks coffee, if we're
Right.
honest, but still it's you exercising generosity. So that's a really good thing. The other thing, just a couple more everyday money saving tips before we jump over into some conversation on savings, is my least favorite, which is maybe the Equate brand is as good as the On brand. Maybe the Market
I'm an
Pantry.
off-brand queen.
I loathe it.
If it's $2 cheaper, yes.
It's you must have said yes, queen.
Yes, but I didn't want to say queen, okay?
It's hard for me, but I'll be honest, y'all. The more I look at the back of the items that I'm looking for, medicine is a big deal for me. I
It's the
think
same thing.
it really is. The more I look at it, the active ingredients and everything. Check that though. Like check
Now,
all
there
that
are a
stuff.
few things, like you can't do off-brand Pop-Tarts.
You should.
They
not
do taste
off-brand.
different. There's a few things just non-negotiable.
Yeah, but for things like medicine and other things, often it is the same exact product, and that can save you a couple of dollars, which can add up in the big deal. So the other thing I'd say, the last thing on this section is probably just looking at your subscriptions. I was talking with somebody the other day, and I think it's concerning to me how many subscriptions that they have that they do not know that they're paying for. So,
But once again, managing your money will help you know what
Yeah,
subscription you're paying for.
exactly.
Like, we legit knew someone who was paying for 2 Netflix accounts and they didn't realize.
I don't understand,
It's like,
but it's because I'm married to you.
yes,
That's
but
why.
Taylor, before you married me, you used to overdraft your checking account.
Yeah,
Like, who doesn't know how much money they have in the checking account?
18-year-old me, 15, I don't know, 16-year-old me.
You were
whatever.
20.
Yeah, I'm just a baby.
It's just a baby.
But yeah, this is your like yearly reminder to like go into your phone under iCloud and under subscriptions and see what it is that you are paying for annually, because those will really hit you with some big charges once a year or even monthly, and see if there are those things that are sneaking up on you that you're like, oh, I don't really need that. And you'd be surprised, you can save $20 a month, $35 a month on some of that stuff that you just didn't realize that you're paying for. So those are some of the major money saving tips, kind of they're generic, yeah, but I think we sprinkled some pretty good stuff in there. So let's jump over, Liz, and let's talk about something that I think we really should talk about, which is savings account. Let's look at why savings as a concept is really, really important. Did you find that statistic, by the way?
No, can you read it? My brain doesn't work.
It's all good. So as of 2021, nearly 40%, this is what you were referencing earlier,
Thanks.
nearly 40% of Americans would struggle to come up with $400 for an unexpected expense. The Federal Reserve did that study. So that's pretty wild.
Well,
40%.
And that's not saying charge it on the credit card either. And so I feel, so my thoughts, we use credit cards and I love it. And I try and pay it off every
Yes.
month, or it never gets so high where it's
Correct.
ridiculous. It has never been higher than what we have in savings.
Oh, yeah.
Where I could pay it off instantly. But when you purchase something on a credit card and you are unable to pay it off immediately, you're working backwards. You're trying to catch up on what you already purchased versus telling your money
Very
where to
difficult,
go.
yeah.
And that's hard, especially because some credit card interest is like 27%, and so you get behind on the monthly pay. It's literally just, it's awful.
Yeah.
Credit cards are awful, and they give them to like 16-year-olds, I feel like, maybe 18. I don't know. But saving is important because, like I said earlier, there is going to be an unexpected expense. And you don't want to put $500 on a credit card,
Right.
pay the minimum payment, and that $500 turns $1,500 and you're already struggling to pay it off.
Yeah.
And so, like, it took us a while. Like, we have, one of the things I'm most proud that we save for is vacation fund. And we get to save a nice little chunk. Can I say the number that we save every month for vacation? Because I'm going to say what we started with and what we end up now.
Okay.
So we are able to put aside $500 a month, and that's minimum because sometimes when I do my cakes and whatnot, I throw more money into the vacation savings because I really love to travel. And so minimum $500 a month, but we started with 50.
But we did it with 50.
Yep, because we would do like camping trips, or we would do like cheap little like one night getaways to Myrtle Beach where we could just like go into like a cheap. Remember that cheap motel?
It smelled like
it
fish.
smelled so bad, and we walked in, and there was a cop handling a dispute.
It was a suburban extend-a-stay.
Because that's all we could afford. But we wanted to do just one night in Myrtle Beach because we put vacationing together like on a high priority in our marriage, and so we that's what we started with.
Yeah. So can you break down how many and kind of our philosophy and our practice rather for automatic savings? So back in the day, just to set up the moment, I read this book called I Will Teach You to Be Rich by Ramit. I can't remember his last name, but it's called I Will Teach You to Be Rich. Highly, highly, highly recommend that you get that book and you read it, guys. It's really, really good. It really marked me in a great way.
And he does the audiobook, and so his audiobook is really fun too. Because you listen to it mainly, and I listened like when we were in the car together, and I agreed with everything he said. And because I understand finances, and so I still monitor it very quickly.
Yeah.
I mean, very closely. But he talked about the automatic savings, and so how you always pay yourself first, and it does it regardless.
Yep.
And so I was already doing that, but I manually did everything because I enjoy control. But now that we have all the automatic savings set up, it's like nice. It's like,
So
ooh.
break down our practice for automatic savings and what it looks like for us every month.
Yeah. So with savings, we break up into 3 different savings accounts, and I won't say the numbers on behalf of Taylor's
But we know vacation is 500.
Yes. So we have our sinking fund savings, which is
Short-term savings?
Yes, the short-term savings, because we know oil change needs to happen. We know the brakes are going to need replaced.
A new tire patch tomorrow.
Yeah, we're going to have to get a tire patch. I'm so sick of this car. So it's the stuff we plan for.
Yes. Yes.
Property taxes, stuff like that. Like we know it's going to happen. So we put money in our sinkings fund. And we also put money in our emergency savings. So Dave says you should have 3 to 6 months of expensives saved up. I like more, and so we just still put like an amount into I call it the big savings every single month, because what if we want to buy our dream house? And I'm thinking like future Taylor and Liz, or if we want to buy land, or what if I want to start a bakery one day? And so we have I call it big savings, sinking fund for the expenses that we know is going to happen, and then our vacation fund is our 3 main savings, and it's non-negotiable because we pay ourselves.
And it happens automatically. They have withdrawals that happen from our checking account to these accounts.
I have it set up. So being a teacher, I get paid the 15th and the 30th regardless. So pretty much since I know that it's coming consistently every single month, that's when all the savings comes out.
Yeah, okay.
Because I know money is going to be there, but you can make it automatic, like, and do it every other week, knowing to align with your pay. But we pay ourselves first.
Yeah. And I love that you said the thing about the future Liz and future Taylor's thing, because I think a lot of our issues as a whole is that we don't plan for the future. So in 2019, this is pre-COVID, the average American household had about $8,863 in savings. $8,800 in savings was the average whatever. Impressive and really scary, because we just had to do a full AC replacement in our house, our newer house, and it was
12,000
over that amount. So there are some people who literally in their savings account could not pay for that. They would have to do a credit thing, which introduces
plans.
interest, and it's such a dangerous thing. So it's almost like planning for the future. Yeah, Murphy's Law, exactly. So really quick, with the rise of, I'm a little bit of a minimalist, but with the rise of, I would say, not greed, but like consumerism, people wanting stuff, especially in people that are our age, 30 years old or 30 something, how do you resist the urge to buy all the stuff that you see? Kind of looking at both like our main jobs and our side hustles that give us some flexibility. How do you resist that urge to just buy the stuff and give in to the temptation of that?
So I feel like people tend to naturally go towards a saver or a spender.
Yeah.
And I naturally go towards saving.
Okay.
So I feel like that makes it a lot easier, especially because I cannot literally fit any more clothes in my closet. And I know a lot of people are with me, but unlike me, you guys are still out buying more clothes and not getting rid of any clothes. So I made a point. I'm not allowed to buy any more clothes until I get rid of like every one piece of clothing article I buy, I have to get rid of 4.
Yeah.
And honestly, I don't want to get rid of anything. So I kind of gave myself a halt of spending more money on clothes because I don't want to get rid of anything. So you have to give yourself boundaries and limitations. And so, especially like the new phone, like you used to want to upgrade every new phone you wanted
Tech
it.
is big for me. Yeah.
Yes. And so finally I feel like we broke that habit out of you, which is I'm very thankful. We have like I think 3 iPhones behind and I love it.
Yeah. So can I tell you my strategy?
Yes.
So this is so stupid, but typically like if I'm on Amazon or if I'm on TikTok or if I see an ad for something and I look at the price and I'm like, dang, that's a little bit expensive. I kind of want that though. I'll just like literally walk away. I will do something else to just distract myself long enough for that temptation to leave.
But you used to not do that. You used to be such an impulse buyer.
Buy now, add to cart all day long, baby. Like I'm not concerned about it at all.
And he literally said like, Liz, you're a magician. You always make the budget work. And I had to go to him and explain to him, I'm like, I really feel abused right now. Like, and there is a thing like in my money groups, they talk about financial abuse and whatnot. And Taylor was never like that, but I'm like, you are putting so much stress on me to figure it out and to work it out, and you keep on spending. And so he started showing up to the budget meetings, and he, like I said, he got angry and walked away a lot. And it took us a long time to get on the same page as these money goals. And like I would tell him my dreams of, if I did want to open a bakery one day, like this is what I feel comfortable with. This is how much, because I'm a planner. So I was like, this is how much it would cost. This is how much I would want to do if we did buy land. And so I showed him the numbers instead of just was like, well, this is what I want to do. We need to do it. I explained why it was important to me. And so really getting on the same page as the budget, if you have a spouse or if you share bank accounts, which if you share bank accounts without being married, you brave. You're so brave.
But also if you get married and don't share bank accounts, that is strange to me.
Yeah, no.
Everyone's got their reasons.
They do. And I know some people who make it work great.
Yeah.
Like they have all their bills in one account. And so they kind of keep it like categories. So all of their bills go into one account and that's all the money. And then their allowances goes into their separate checking account.
Yeah.
So it's not like his account, her account, if you will. They just use different debit cards to
I would put your name on the bill account and mine on like the free money account. And then I would just be like, peace, good luck, sucker. Nah, just kidding.
No.
Well, cool. Well, we're getting to the end. There will never be a podcast, Liz, where we hit every single segment we try to. We didn't even get to talk about more of the essential financial practices, but we gave some good stuff.
Right. I feel like
we added value.
The most important is literally being open. If you share a bank account or you share bills, you have to be open with it. You have to take the time to know where your money's going. Like really monitor your money. That is like if you don't get anything else, because a lot of people just tell you to save money or increase your income. But you really need to monitor your money to be able to manage it well.
Exactly, yeah. So that wraps up our conversation today. Hopefully, Liz, in the future, you can share some more money tips with us and maybe even have some other resources that you help everybody out with that can really be a benefit to their financial futures and everything that they do.
My flex is I have an MBA, so if you guys need help with your budgets, just let me know. I love sitting down with people, but you have to expose your soul, aka your budget, to me.
You just have to be honest.
You have to be honest. You have to tell me. And so if you don't have a spouse, it's still good to have an accountability partner financially. So get a friend and be like, hey, I need help sticking to a budget.
Yeah, it's true. So I love it. Thanks for joining us for this conversation today. Listen, if you found this episode helpful, we would really appreciate it if you can share it with your friends and leave us a review. And until next time, keep a good, keen eye on your budget. Look at where you're spending on your subscriptions, and
don't stress so much. It shouldn't be.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be like pulling teeth.
Right.
It's not scary. Exactly. It's only scary because you're not familiar with your budget
and you don't have a plan.
Yes.
But when you have a plan, you can work it, and
you got this.
Everything is expected, and even the stuff that's not expected, you got a plan for it. So it's okay.
One step at a time.
One step at a time.
No, don't sing. We gotta end it now. We're over time.
All right. Thank you guys for hanging out. Until next time, we'll see you.
Bye.